For a club that is mired in financial crisis, Barcelona are making some serious moves in this summer's transfer market. Frank Kessie and Andreas Christensen have arrived as free transfers, and they've also secured the signing of Rafinha from Leeds United. And if the rumour mill is to be believed, one more star signing could soon be making his way to the Camp Nou, and that is, of course, Robert Lewandowski from Bayern Munich. Yet, the simple fact of the matter is, many people are wondering how exactly is it that Barcelona are finding the money to spend on players, money that they quite frankly don't have, and the fact that they are some 1.3 billion euros in debt means that their financial situation as things stand is precarious to say the least. Yet, despite that, they are somehow managing to pull off some minor miracles when it comes to both generating funds as well as a few tricks in accounting to actually ensure that their cash flow remains stable and that they can attract some of the top players in the world and hopefully restore the club back to its so-called glory days. Yet, whether or not this is feasible as a method is something that's a whole different matter. Hello everyone and welcome to Sports Today. My name is Shane Dias and today we are going to go a little deep into how exactly Barcelona are managing to spend big on transfers and why it might not be the best idea in the long term because it might just come back to haunt them in a big way. For starters, let's talk about the fact that Barcelona actually activated what President Joan Laporta described as two financial levers to ensure that the club has more cash to spend in the short term. Now, one of those levers was the fact that they got around 207.5 million euros by selling 10% of the club's La Liga TV rights to a US consortium or a private equity fund for the next 25 years. So that means that in the short term, they managed to raise funds that would actually put them in the green in terms of the accounts, given that in the last season, they had reported losses of around 160 million euros. Yet this cash influx means that their accounts are in the green and that in theory, La Liga would look at their accounts in a more favorable manner and thus impose less spending restrictions on them. What's more, the second lever that Laporta was able to activate with the approval of the club socios was the fact that they got approval to sell up to 49% of the licensing and merchandising department, which is known as BLM or Barcelona Licensing and Merchandising. Yet it is worth noting that despite the fact that they have the approval to do so, at present they haven't really been able to find buyers who would be interested in buying at least even a part of this 49%, never mind the entirety. That brings us to the third and final point when it comes to the financial levers, and that means that Barcelona could actually sell another 15% of their TV rights because they got permission to sell 25% of the club's rights. Yet as of now, they've only sold 10%. So that means that at least in the short term and as things stand, Barcelona do have money to spend, and that is why they are able to aggressively chase transfer targets and spend big on the likes of Rafinha and now potentially Robert Lewandowski as well. But that's only for the short term, and even looking at the short term, there are still quite a few problems that the club have to address. This is because despite the fact that Barcelona can actually sign these players, and mind you, they've had quite a bit of activity because they signed, as I mentioned before, they signed Frank Kessie from AC Milan on a free, they signed Andreas Christensen from Chelsea on a free, they signed Rafinha from Leeds United, and Robert Lewandowski could be the next person that they sign. Yet the player registration for La Liga, that remains the major complication and the thing that Barcelona would have to circumnavigate in a very clever way. Why? Because the biggest issues come in the way of financial fair play regulations that are imposed by La Liga. That means that Barca can only spend an X amount depending on the kind of finances or the state of their finances at any given point. So as things stand, Barca have been able to sign all of these players, yet they know very well that they can't register them for La Liga until they actually get rid of some earners or reduce their wage bill. So that is the major complication, which brings us to the third question, at least for the short term, which again I keep emphasizing because we are going to address the long-term part in a bit, which is that how will the club trim that wage bill in order to register new players? And the answer to that one really is hinging on just one star player in particular. The main focus when it comes to trimming the wage bill in the short term is getting rid of Frankie de Jong. Now, obviously, Frankie de Jong is someone who needs no introduction. He's seen widely as one of the finest midfielders in European football, and he has done relatively well, even though he's had his few on and off moments at Barcelona since joining the club from Ajax. Yet, the major stumbling point when it comes to Frankie de Jong is not, in fact, the fact is that his performances have been up and down or anything of that sort. The main issue is that they are keen to sell de Jong because he is right now one of their biggest earners. Now, obviously, Manchester United are interested and are probably in pole position to sign him. Chelsea have also been linked to him in the past, so there's no shortage of sweeters. But the main problem is that Frankie de Jong doesn't actually want to leave, and to complicate matters further, he is owed up to 17 million euros in deferred wages, which the club had said that they would pay him back at a later time, and he's currently digging his heels in saying he doesn't want to leave and that he will probably not leave unless he gets the money that is owed to him. Now, obviously, that is a bit of a complicated situation because as things stand, this situation really can go absolutely either way. De Jong may just eventually choose to say that Barca are doing a lot to force him out and that he should leave, or he might just dig his heels in and say, I'm not leaving until I get what I owed and I actually like playing for the club. Which of these situations comes to play at this point, we don't really know. But now to answer the final major question, is any of this feasible in the long term? The simple answer to that question is, well, no. The simple fact is that if you look at what Barcelona are doing right now, they're basically selling off their assets at the highest price possible in order to raise money for the short term, which they can spend in the hopes that if they can secure a few good players, get them in and potentially assemble a title-winning team or one that can compete for trophies on all fronts, that they might actually win a few trophies and that would naturally increase the money that they make from both prize money, from sponsorships and everything in between. So it is a bit of a risky strategy to say the least, because the club is in essence mortgaging the assets that they currently have, or in fact selling it off too, in a way, in the hopes that there is more revenue awaiting them in the future. And that revenue, but the problem with that revenue is that it is hinged on them actually getting success. The big question, of course, is that what if Barcelona, despite all this spending, aren't able to find the kind of success that they had in the past? Remember, even Real Madrid have done well to strengthen, and there's also the small matter of a team like Atletico Madrid, who are always competitors. But if there was anything that was proved last season in La Liga, it's the fact that there are other clubs who are keen to take advantage of the fact that these giants are not quite operating at their most efficient. So it might be easier said than done for Barca to get back to the top. What they're doing right now is commendable in the short term. Whether or not it will work in the long term, it's debatable to say the least, and it is something that we will only know in the future. Thank you all so much for joining us for this particular video. If you enjoy what it is that we do, please don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, drop us a comment below telling us your thoughts on this entire situation. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and last but not the least, don't forget to tap the bell icon so that you know every single time we're either going live or uploading a new video for you guys. As always, I've been Shane Reyes. I've been grateful to be joined by you, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.